Welcome to the Gentleman's Guide to Vampires and Clan Giovanni. Really, is there a more depraved clan than the Clan Giovanni? Incestuous, necrophiliacs, blood usurpers. Really, why do any other vampires tolerate the presence of this clan? A clan that will hold power over you even after final death. The Giovanni are, potentially, the biggest threat to the Masquerade and the Sword of Cain. For not only do they have their own plans that are coalescing quite nicely, they also have a founder who's awake and working with the main body of the clan, the most unified clan in these nights, to achieve their despicable aims. Clan Giovanni are independent. They do not belong to the Camarilla. They were in fact told that they would not be able to, and they volunteered that they would never wish to be. They were quite happy to, keep themselves to themselves, never involve themselves in the jihad between the Sabbat and the Camarilla, and in fact, in doing so, they were quite content because they didn't want other clans meddling in their business. They do not belong with the Sabbat either, although it has been said that if the Sabbat and the Camarilla were to ever end their conflict, and with one sect being destroyed, the Giovanni would much rather it was the Sabbat that came on top, for it would be a lot easier to feed. After all, the Giovanni are not, although they do adhere to the Masquerade when in a Camarilla city, particularly circumspect about their feeding. They're incapable of being circumspect. After all, their bite with their jagged teeth, their fangs, are not painless. They do not bring about the rapture of ecstasy that comes with being drained by another vampire. No. They induce great amounts of pain. Perhaps that is their curse by the Cappadocians for taking the Cappadocian blood. If you have not watched my video on Clan Cappadocian, their history is simple. Augustus Giovanni and a number of his family were embraced into Clan Cappadocian in the Dark Ages, due to their great knowledge of necromancy despite their being mortal. The Cappadocians, obsessed with death as they were, saw great potential in the family Giovanni, but then they foresaw their own death, and this worried Clan Giovanni. Now you could say it was a self-fulfilling prophecy, because it worried Clan Giovanni to such an extent that they decided something had to be done. Now maybe Augustus Giovanni had always intended to diablerize Cappadocius. Maybe he had always intended to take over the clan and rename it after himself. Or maybe it was Cappadocius's portents. Maybe it was Cappadocius announcing this to the main body of the clan. We will be destroyed in 200 years. So we must carry on researching death as best we are able in order to overcome it. Giovanni had only just entered vampiric society and were only just beginning to be accepted. They weren't just going to suddenly throw that away because some hoary old antediluvian had said, we are all destined to die. They had just gained immortality. They didn't want to die. They did the only thing they could do. They brought down the stupid old bastard who intended to diablerize God, and they took the clan for themselves. The remaining Cappadocians all destroyed. Every single one of them. Do not let anyone tell you different. Harbingers of skulls and samedi are just rumours. They do not exist. The Giovanni will remind you that they destroyed every last one of Clan Cappadocian, for it was within their power to do so. They destroy one Cappadocian, they ensnare that poor vampire's soul, and they interrogate it by doing such vile things to his desiccated body, or his loved ones, or anyone that he ever cared about, so that that soul reveals the location of another Cappadocian. The Giovanni dominated Clan Cappadocian within a few hundred years, probably less. Even their bodyguards, the Cappadocian bodyguards, the Lamia, were unfortunately unable to stop the Giovanni. I say unfortunately, it would not have been a pleasant experience if Cappadocius had somehow diablerized the Judeo-Christian god, but the Giovanni have never really thought of it like that, so they think it was a ridiculous thing to do anyway. Ridiculous thing to say. Who could do that? And being God-fearing Catholics as they are, who could allow something like that? The Giovanni in disciplines are Scalded Dominates. They can control someone's mind just by looking at them, just by talking to them, just by whispering in their ear. They can smash someone's head in with their fist, with their potence, or with their finger with enough points in it. But, most importantly of all, they can raise your body as an undead servant. They can ensnare your soul as messenger or torture victim. They can travel over the shroud to the other side where the wraiths do dwell and gain information unable to be obtained by other vampires because of this discipline. This necromancy is truly a powerful discipline, one not understood by many, written off by the Tremere as very focused in one area, very limited. They don't know the half of what necromancy is capable of. Well, the Tremere dance around their fires and boil the blood of their victims and set them aflame. The Giovanni will have power over them, living, undead, and dead. Of course, what is the Giovanni's goal? Well, it's the Endless Night. Do you know what the Endless Night is? No? Well, that's not surprising, because most vampires don't. If they did, the Giovanni would be wiped off the face of the earth. The Giovanni are very close to achieving their goal. You see, they send some of the most powerful necromancers to old battlefields, and new ones. They go to Pol Pot's killing fields. They've been to the sites of the First World War and to the concentration camps. A bit of Gettysburg, of all places. They have been everywhere where there has been great amount of death and suffering. And there they have performed such diabolical rituals as to ensnare the souls, because once they have obtained enough souls, to a layman, they are making a battery of spirits. And this battery is going to bring down the shroud between the living world and the dead world. When that happens, and no other vampire can control these spirits, no mortal can control these spirits, the Giovanni will be the most powerful clan, partly because they are the only ones that can protect anyone from these spirits, but partly because they can dominate these spirits into doing whatever they want. And it is said that some members of Clan Giovanni, and the nascent, Samadi, or Harbingers of Skulls, if you believe in such nonsense, can feed from spirits rather than humans. Vitae isn't all that's necessary to feed a Giovanni. A Giovanni can drink your very soul. This Endless Night just laughs at the machinations of the Camarilla and the Sabbat. Bring down the antediluvians. The Giovanni have got an antediluvian and he's walking around. He's performing necromantic rituals. Uphold the masquerade. It's not going to be around for much longer when the spirits are dancing around the world being manipulated by the Giovanni from their mausoleums. They've suffered setbacks. When the maelstroms run through the underworld, they occasionally lose spirits, or spectres go insane and they take apart members of Clan Giovanni, but members of Clan Giovanni aren't useless once they've been destroyed, because they can serve them beyond the shroud as well. Clans don't know this. Clans don't know about the Endless Night, because the Giovanni put up a very good front. Until very recently, the Giovanni were seen as mafioso. They were seen as bankers, as corporate heads. They were seen as greedy Italians with occasional odd sexual fetishes that resulted in their sleeping with corpses and occasionally raising the dead as sexual partners. It was laughed off with a bit of a disgusted look by other clans, such as the Toreador and the Ventru, an eccentricity of this bizarre clan, and a good reason for them not being in the masquerade, about being in the Camarilla, that's what they'd say. No. The Giovanni are arguably the second most wealthy clan behind the Ventru, if you were to look at it from a sort of GDP per clan, but that is not their main goal. Money gets you a lot, spirits get you more. They do have their hand in organised crime. Organised crime results in a hell of a lot of death. But the Giovanni want to bring about the end of the world as we know it. And there's no one with the capability of stopping them. Of course, the Giovanni have various bloodlines belonging to their clan, various families that don't go by the surname Giovanni, because most vampires, most humans embraced into Clan Giovanni do have the surname Giovanni. As I say, it's a very incestuous clan, not just on a mortal basis. Vampires will embrace their grandchildren, or their great-nephews, or their daughter, or their wife. Needless to say, the Giovanni has very entangled roots, and this results in some Giovanni not necessarily being as up to it as others. Some have very sloping brows, bulging eyebrows, eyes a bit close together, or very thick lips. You can tell they're inbred, and they act inbred. That's not to say all of them suffer such maladies. This closeness, this ability the Giovanni have to be incestuous and carry it off through their embrace has engendered such loyalty within their clan. Not only will you not betray a member of the family, you will not betray a member of the clan that is the same thing, but if you do, we'll torture your spirit for eternity. And the Giovanni know that they're capable of that because they've just been doing it. They do have other families in their clan. It was around the turn of the 20th century, really, that they started doing this en masse. But since their embrace, they realised the benefit of diversifying the pool somewhat. So they have the Rossellinis, who are, of course, accomplished necromancers in their own right. They have the Della Passaglias. They have the Milliners, who are ancient enemies and Bostonians of the Kennedys. And they are very much the financier arm, although they are getting heavily into the necromantic arts as well. And they pretty much run Boston. Boston is, although a Camarilla city in name, all but held by the Giovanni, who also all but hold many cities in Italy from which they come. The Dunsaren, the cannibalistic Scottish bloodline of the Giovanni, also primarily bankers, cannibalistic way before they were vampires, but with their own ties to the dead. The Ghiberti, the African necromancers, and the Pisanob, who have recently been suffering some losses over in Mexico due to some other necromantic vampires that had appeared there and wiped a vast swathe of them out. And yet the Pisanob are founded by a vampire who looks like a desiccated husk of a human. He looks like a zombie, almost. And so some questions have flown around. Is this Pisanob, this Poctli, his name is, actually a member of this Samadi bloodline? No. Can't be said, can't be done. The Giovanni say that there is no such thing. There are no Cappadocians left who are just out for revenge and determined to wipe the Giovanni out. It's not going to happen. And yet something has struck at the Pisanob. Something has harmed their interests in Mexico and in South America. And some naysayers would tend to point the fingers at the Harbingers of the Skull, this new bloodline that supposedly appeared in the Sabbat, and yet no one has actually witnessed These vampires that apparently share the same disciplines as the apparently deceased Cappadocians. These apparently deceased Cappadocians that somehow crossed over the Shroud and have been feeding on wraiths for the past 500 years. But pay it no heed. The Giovanni certainly don't. One of their clan members was a member of the board of Pentex, one of the most vile organisations and also one of the most powerful organisations in the world. So, if anyone knew, the Giovanni would, if there were any threats. But Enzo Giovanni, that Pentex founder, has also disappeared in unusual circumstances, almost as if another member of the board of directors, a member of the Sabbat, may have revealed his location to one of his allies among the Harbingers of the Skull. No. Nonsense. The Giovanni are powerful, they're threatening, they are very duplicitous and secretive. They do not let on about their ultimate goals. They are quite happily to play the incestuous dumb mook card. They want people to think that they are characters from The Godfather. They want people to think they're characters from The Sopranos. They do not want people to realise that what they are actually doing is endangering the Sabbat, the Camarilla, and kindred existence, as well as mortal existence, worldwide. And they are, and they're very close. The only other clan that has any inkling? The followers of Set, but they keep their secrets close to their chests until someone has something to gain, and they have something to gain from giving that secret away. So, that's all of the clans covered. From Assamite to Ravnos. From Zemisi to Ventru. From Giovanni to Toreador, and Bruja to Nosferatu. And so on, and so on. Perhaps you'd like to see me cover the bloodlines of Vampire the Masquerade as well. Maybe if you would, you should say in the comments. But I do hope you've enjoyed these little videos. I hope that they have helped enlighten you, I suppose, to some of the darker aspects of the world of darkness, some of the things you might not otherwise know. And by all means, if you have any requests, do let me know. Thank you very much. It's been very enjoyable.